Hello, this is my ACTE 630.50 presentation. My name is Leah Wanamaker. My program that I'm in is Masters of Assessment Curriculum and Teaching with a concentration in STEM. I currently teach pre-K at Phoenixville Area Children's Learning Center. Phoenixville is in Chester County, which is like right outside of Montgomery County, probably about half an hour, 45 minutes from Philly, depending on traffic. And I currently live in Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Reading. I'm a wife and a mother to I'm a mother to both a human child and a fur child. My dog Patrick is over here, and then this is a picture of my husband, my son, and myself, Leah. My husband's name is Ron. My son's name is Ronnie. So yeah. I love reading. I've gotten back into reading over the last year, and I love playing video games in my free time. And anything nerd culture. I have 3 Star Wars tattoos, very into Pokemon, all that fun stuff. Having anything nerdy, I've probably heard of it or I'm into it. So the first thing is teaching online. With being an online learner, I've taken a few online classes for my bachelor studies that were fully online, not really hybrid, or they were 100% online, where one of them was a writing course and the other was looking at education through like different lenses. And they were both very writing intensive, like Moskowitz stated. They were incredibly writing intensive. I believe I had a paper at least once a week, if not twice a week. I've been doing continuing education after my master's that are all online, and they are all very writing and creating content, slideshows, pamphlets, all sorts of things. Being an online teacher, I don't have a lot of experience with. I actually took a break from teaching after COVID. I was let go from my job that I was at during COVID. So I wasn't teaching during COVID. I went back to teach at the tail end. The center that I was at, I was working with kindergartners while they were on their iPads, being taught by other teachers. So there were online, the room that I was in was entirely online learners. So it was kindergarten, first, and second. And the teachers seemed to be doing a lot more and planning a lot more. They had face-to-face instruction, but they also had to plan activities and things for the students to do on their own. So when they were not working with a teacher, I was working with them on the things that the teacher had assigned for them. So it seemed like there was more work on the teacher's part with not only having to do, you can't really say face-to-face instruction, it was more screen-to-screen instruction, and then planning the activities and having everything graded and ready. So it did seem like it was a lot more work on the teacher doing it online. Some of the skills, online communication skills, you have to be very good at communicating with parents in general, but I feel like when you're doing it online, it's more important because you're only really going to be communicating with them through email or maybe sometimes Zoom. Having good content and subject area knowledge, having a mastery of your content in any teaching medium is a very important part of being a teacher. Like, no matter if you're teaching face-to-face or online, you need to have that content mastery in order to understand. I know my current position, we teach creative curriculum, and this will be my 3rd year teaching it, and I'm still trying to master some of the content areas. As stated by Moskowitz, teachers are asked to frequently update or modify curriculum to make it work for online learning. This isn't something I've had to do because every time I've taught, it's been in person. Like I said, I've never taught online before. So I feel like I don't really have a lot of strengths with the content and subject area. Knowledge and prior online experience, again, I don't really have any experience with teaching online, so I don't know those struggles firsthand with having to plan everything and teach and grade. I'm really good with technology, though. That is one thing I will say. I feel like if I was asked to plan an online course or teach an online course, I would probably be able to do it depending on the subject area and like where it was. I've pretty much been teaching pre-K since I've been out of college. Since I graduated with my bachelor's in 2016, and I've pretty much been either subbing or teaching preschool. But I've been keeping up with the technology, keeping up with everything, especially with having a 4-year-old son who will be in kindergarten next year. I kind of have to be up on all that technology. So that is one thing that I am pretty fluent with. The standards, how they relate to in-person and online. Remaining professional is very similar. You have to remain professional in person, you have to remain professional online. Whether that's through written communication, verbal communication, you always have to be professional. That is something that you're always going to be, I don't want to say graded on, but that's always something that you're going to be asked, you're going to ask to present yourself professionally, no matter if you're online or in person. The online teacher, as the standard stated, the online teacher is a reflective practitioner who continues to focus on his or her practice and finds opportunities for growth. As a teacher, you are always growing. You are always trying to better yourself, not just for your teaching, but for your students. You're always trying to learn more and make yourself better, which I think is a lot of the reason why a lot of us choose to go back to school. That's my main reason, is I want to better my craft, better my teaching, just make myself better. Standard C5 is about the teacher meeting the needs of all learners, which is like in person. My current school, we do individualized lesson plans and individualized care plans for each child. So we are expected on our lesson plans to have like individualized care plans for each child so we can individualize learning and make it so that each child is learning to their own potential. A lot of the standards focused on technology. Obviously, this is a technology-driven course, and it's a technology-driven standards. Because I teach preschool, we don't use a lot of technology in our room because young children shouldn't have screen time. We are introducing a new program called Finch this year that will allow us to screen and monitor reading comprehension and help us scan for different reading issues that children can have. But that is only going to be about 5 minutes a day for maybe like 2 or 3 days out of the week. So 15 minutes total for the week. We are not encouraged to use screens where I work. We don't have a projector. We do have like a laptop for lesson planning, but we rarely use technology in my classroom. One of the challenges is assistive technology. I haven't really seen assistive technology being used, because that would be of a more like admin or management level where I'm working, and not something I would handle, and that was standard F5. The challenges that online teachers face is time. They stated in the article that a lot of your time gets taken up and is dedicated to teaching, a lot more so than in person, because you're planning lessons, you're becoming a master in your content. It's a lot more invasive than what in-person teaching is and what you have to do. The course content, you have to become a master in it. You have to know what you're talking about. And you have complete control over your content, which which is awesome, but it's also a lot more. The one thing I resonated with the most in this article was the student issues. I feel that these would be the hardest to navigate. In the reading, it says it seems that students either do really well or just don't do anything at all. And it can be very hard for students who aren't motivated or can't focus to do online because you don't have that teacher in the room saying, hey, let's keep going. It's the student is 100%, most of the time, 100% responsible for their own learning. You can only do so much when you're teaching through a screen. When you're primarily communicating through email, what if a student doesn't respond? You could always get the parents involved or your admins, but if they don't want to succeed, they won't. So that is just one of the issues that I've had, and I know with some of the behaviors I've had in my teaching experience, there are some children that just won't sit and do the content. Thank you very much for taking the time to view my presentation, and I look forward to working with all of you this semester. Thanks. Bye.